Hey there guys, Walter here. I wanted to give you my thoughts on the new Justice League movie that just came out. This is a couple days late, but I just had the opportunity to upload this, so I wanted to talk to you guys about what I thought about the movie and get your reactions to that as well. Okay, so I think we've all wanted to see a Justice League movie for a long time, since Marvel has been putting together their characters and put together the Avengers and all these other sort of obscure characters. It's kind of a foregone conclusion, like, yeah, let's see a Justice League movie. The DCEU is a collection of movies that not everybody likes. I mean, a lot of people hate those movies, but there are defenders of those, and I know a decent amount of them that like it either by blind loyalty to DC, or they like it because they just like something different and darker than Marvel. Whatever the case may be, the DCEU movies are not, I don't think they're very good. So just keep that in mind as I'm going into this. Even Wonder Woman, everyone loves Wonder Woman. I wasn't even like a huge fan of Wonder Woman. So Justice League. This movie had a lot of ups and downs. Joss Whedon came in and reshot a ton of the movie, a lion's share of the movie even, that Zack Snyder had already shot. And we know unfortunately what happened with Zack Snyder and his family. He had to leave the production of it and everything. So when Joss came in to reshoot everything, there was new story elements that were put in. A lot of the characters' motivations were very different, and how characters were brought into the story and the relationships have been changed. So, and a lot of the tone of the movie was changed as well. So you can still see a little bit of Zack's stuff in there. I mean, it says at the beginning a Zack Snyder film, but by the end it's like, this was not a Zack Snyder movie. It didn't feel like it whatsoever. But going throughout it, there's very much those funny moments that Joss Whedon is known for. I mean, obviously we know the Avengers and everything, and all the TV work he's done before, like Firefly and all that, where there's a team together and there is a camaraderie between them, but there is a lighter heartedness, and there's joking around, and there's one-liners going back and forth, and that was in this movie for sure, mostly with The Flash, a little bit with Aquaman, and a lot with Batman, surprisingly. But that's definitely present in the film, and you could see that. Is it better for it? I mean, I don't know. I know that I haven't really been a huge fan of Zack Snyder's DC movies, so odds are that the movie is better for it, but we'll never know. I know the original cut of this movie was over 3 hours long, and then Warner Brothers came in and with a mandate and said this movie has to be 2 hours or less, and I think this movie is like exactly 2 hours after the, including credits and everything. So, yeah, it's a movie that definitely feels like there's more than one person behind it, but it's not too distracting. Like if I just introduce this to somebody without having prior knowledge of the behind the scenes drama or whatever behind this, I don't know if anyone would really notice. I think I just noticed because we would notice because we know what's going on behind the scenes. I have to mention this, okay? Henry Cavill's upper lip. Now, if you don't know the story about this, Henry Cavill was in the middle of shooting Mission Impossible 6, I think, and he had this mustache going, this big burly mustache. And for the reshoots for Justice League, Paramount, I believe, the company behind it, would not let him shave the mustache because he was still shooting Mission Impossible 6. So on the reshoots for Justice League, they had to digitally remove his mustache. So if you weren't aware of this and you saw the movie and you saw a couple times, actually a lot, where his face looks weird, off, that's because they had to digitally remove his mustache and give him a clean-shaven upper lip. So, now this is my opinion. This is one of the worst effects I have ever seen in a major release. This was distractingly terrible, awful. They opened the movie on this, and this isn't really a spoiler. It's just the movie opens on like a cell phone video with Superman like before he died. This isn't like anything that has any bearing on the plot. So they could have easily cut it, but they didn't. And you see him turn around, and he's talking, and everything's moving very strange. And we know that the biggest weakness in these digital faces, when they try to make someone look younger or recreate a face from the past in these movies, is when they talk or try to have some kind of expression, that things look very weird. And it doesn't match up with what our human eyes can see as human movement in the face. It just doesn't work. And that happens a lot with this part of his face. And it's not every time we see him. I mean, we know that every time we see that, it's a reshoot of Joss Whedon. So when it's not there, when it looks like that's actually his upper lip, I mean, that's the original shot by Zack Snyder from the original shooting of the movie. So, but more often than not, it was in there, and it was so bad, man. It pulled me out of it. I mean, I notice those things a little bit more than I think most people, or it distracts me a little bit more. So, I mean, I noticed that in Thor with Cate Blanchett's face. They try to make her look younger, I guess, because she was kind of a goddess or whatever. But yeah, that was really bad. I wouldn't take too many points away from the movie for that, but that was terrible. That was inexcusably bad. They could have done something else. I mean, Superman's been dead for a long time at this point. They could have just said he had a beard or something like that. I mean, they couldn't have, like in the shots they didn't have something like digitally add a beard. I think it's better to add something on to try to take away something and replace it with human skin. Awful. They couldn't have, in the shots that he had the mustache, they couldn't have just added like a prosthetic beard for the reshoots or something if you didn't have time to grow out the full thing. Inexcusably bad. I really hope they fix that on the Blu-ray and DVD release and everything, but that was just like, holy shit. So for the characters for this, I like the Flash for the most part. This is not Grant Gustin's Flash from the TV show now. Ezra Miller's Flash is like 100% comic relief, where Grant Gustin has serious moments and really has the Barry Allen responsibility on him as the series progressed. Where this Flash is right now, I'm not a huge fan of, but regardless, he has different aspects to his personality that Ezra Miller either doesn't have yet, or just, they're trying to make him much different. I mean, Wally West is the Joker Flash. We all know this. Not the Joker, but a jokey Flash. So this felt way more like they were trying to make him like Wally West more than Barry Allen, who is more of a serious character. I know he jokes around, but he's more of a serious character than this. I mean, he was just, like, everything was a joke. Like, he was 100% the comic relief, and most of that comic relief worked. I'd say 75 to 80% of the time, I like the Flash. Just, I think a couple times they pushed it a little too far. We're like, yeah, Flash is the jokester, haha. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Let's move on with what's going on. But overall, I did like the Flash a lot. Wonder Woman is likable again. I like Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot, I never had a problem with being Wonder Woman. I'm a fan of her portrayal. I thought she was great in the movie. I like how Batman brought up that she should be the hope, the light that the world needs after Superman was gone, and she wasn't doing that. She was like hiding after Steve Trevor died and everything. So that was cool. I liked that a lot. So she was solid. I liked Aquaman. I think Aquaman was probably my favorite. I like Jason Momoa. I thought his attitude in this was refreshing. I know it's like the surfer guy thing, but I thought it worked in the movie. I really liked him. There's a couple really good scenes with him. I won't spoil too much, but yeah, he's pretty good. I really liked Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Batman was good, but he was way more lighthearted than we saw in Batman v Superman. I know that's part of his attitude change, and that's part of the change in the tone of the script, is that he's taking on a lighter, more hopeful sense of an attitude, since he's trying to live up to Superman's example and everything, and that makes sense. And Ben Affleck's still good in this, but he's not quite the hard-nosed Batman that I was kind of expecting here. He's way lighter toned, and he was still okay, just a little bit more than I thought, a little bit unexpected, but still solid as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Cyborg, didn't like Cyborg. I don't like the character Cyborg. I don't like how they put him in the movie. I don't like any of his dialogue. I did not like Cyborg at all. Thought it looked like garbage. The actor, I'm not blaming him at all. This wasn't his fault. Just everything about his inclusion in this movie was terrible. Did not like Cyborg whatsoever. Should have gotten another character in there. If the issue was you wanted to include a black male into the Justice League, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern. You can bring in Martian Manhunter and make his human form black like they did in Supergirl, the TV series. So many other areas they could have went, but they decided to bring in Cyborg, who I don't like at all, and who was not used well in this movie whatsoever. Steppenwolf is the bad guy here. He's just a generic CG bad guy. I mean, he reminded me kind of Ares at the end of Wonder Woman, but for the entire time. And he wasn't interesting at all. I think his voice was the guy from Game of Thrones, the King Beyond the Wall. So Mance Rayder, I think that was his voice. So the voice was cool. Very heavily CG'd. I mean, there's, that's just what he was. But he had no, interesting motivations, or just want to take over the world to get the mother boxes and all that and whatever. And yeah, Steppenwolf was just an excuse to bring the Justice League together, which was fine if the movie was a little bit better, but he wasn't something that people are going to say it stood out as a good thing about this movie. So they totally retconned Superman being this hopeful figure when he was anything but. Sorry, in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, he wasn't a hopeful figure. Maybe to some people, but for the most part, he was a very melancholy, sort of depressing character that is always wondering about the implications of what he's doing instead of actually doing the things he's supposed to be doing, which is saving people. That's my opinion on it. I know that a lot of people have different opinions on the Superman, and I like Henry Cavill. I think he's not the problem with that, but they totally retcon that as him being the hopeful Superman, and there's all these banners around the world of the Superman, a black banner with the Superman silver logo, and everyone remembers him as this super hopeful figure, and I don't think he was that in those other movies, but they retcon this where he was, and when he comes back, and that's not a spoiler, we all know Superman comes back, he is the Superman that I want to see. He's more lighthearted when he shows up to fight with the Justice League. He is more just noble, it feels like. He feels like sort of the weight of the world is off his shoulders a little bit, and we can see him in the glory that he's supposed to be seen in. So I liked Superman in this. It was a little weird how they brought him back. I actually didn't like at all how they brought him back, but the way that he interacted with everyone after he snapped out of his whatever, it was cool to see him finally sort of be the Superman that we all wanted to see, and the costume's even lighter, and it looks more like the Superman costume and not all desaturated and weird looking. So that was cool to see Superman back, and I enjoyed that part of it. So there are good moments mixed with bad moments in this movie. There's moments where I was just like face palming down. There's moments where I was really into the movie. There's a lot of Flash stuff that I really liked in this movie. Overall, I think it's a step in the right direction, which is why I'm a little bit more optimistic about this movie than I was about Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. But overall, it's still kind of lackluster for a Justice League movie. I mean, nowhere near, and I know some people say don't compare it to Marvel, but they need to be compared to each other to get better. And Marvel has the stronghold in all this stuff where they know when to do light movies, when to do more serious movies, and when to mix the two and come up with a product that most people like. The fact is, most people like the Marvel movies. But Justice League, it has its good moments, and it has things to look forward to in the DCEU now, where I wasn't looking forward to almost anything before this, except maybe Wonder Woman a little bit. But yeah, this movie on its own, it's enjoyable in some aspects, and it's very, very frustrating in other aspects. It's fun to see a live-action Justice League movie. I've always wanted to see that, so the fact that we finally got that is a win no matter what. I mean, we got a Justice League movie. That's a win in itself, and I'm happy that it was released, even if it's a piece of garbage. I don't think it's a piece of garbage, but even if it was the worst thing ever, we got to see a Justice League movie, and that's great. So that's really cool for me. Now, if you're on the fence about this, and you're thinking, should I even see it in theaters, or should I just wait? If you're on the fence, I would say wait. This is not something that I think you need to see in theaters. There's nothing like grand, I think, that happens that's like you have to see that on the big screen to experience it fully. I mean, there's some really cool thematic moments, like a lot of stuff with the Flash that you'll see, but I think that this is definitely something that might be more enjoyable watching it at home, in the comfort of your own home, just on the TV. And like, oh, that was a little bit better than going out and paying $15 frickin' or however ridiculous amount of money movies are now. So yeah, I don't think this one has to be seen on the big screen, but if you want to see it, if you're a big DC fan like I am, then go see it and form your own opinion about it, because I think this is going to divide people once again on the quality of the movie. But I am optimistic about where the DCEU is headed. I think that a Flash movie and an Aquaman movie is what I'm looking forward to the most right now. Even more so the Flash. Like, I think there's a lot of potential with Ezra Miller's Flash, and I'm looking forward to see where they go with it. But what did you think of Justice League? I want to know your comments below. Be civil, okay? I know that these movies rile up a lot of people, but be civil to each other down there. It's okay if you don't like the movie. It's okay if you like the movie. Just have a civilized discussion, guys. That's all I'm asking. Respect each other's opinion, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'm doing the top 5 best episodes of Hey Arnold, which is going up on Tuesday. Check that out. I'm also doing a Countdown Continued here on Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be posting a review of The Disaster Artist, which I got an early screening of. So I've been really excited to see that movie, and I'll let you guys know my spoiler-free, obviously, thoughts, because the movie's not out yet. But you can check that out tomorrow, Tuesday. So there's a lot of stuff coming out here over the next couple days, so make sure you stick around for that. And I will talk to you guys next time here on the channel. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.